Blessings, beautiful souls. It's Jules, and this is the Becoming Bioquantum podcast. And I have been looking forward to having this conversation with Althea for quite a while now. And I am just going to turn it over to you, Althea, and let you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are. And then we'll go into this beautiful conversation.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for having me. Very grateful to be here. It's always a wonderful experience to, connect on these platforms and be able to, expand through each other. So what I do is, I do a lot of different things. If we want to summarize it into one thing, I just help people, become a better version of themselves. But I am, a galactic channel as well. So I work with light language. I work in the Akash. I run retreats. I do a lot of like coaching. I work with abundance manifestation. I assist people in clearing and releasing any attachments, anything that doesn't serve them for the highest alignment. And I help people develop their psychic gifts, abilities, and intuition. So I do teach channeling as well. And yeah, I just kind of like guide people back to themselves, and then for them to step more into, their highest timeline or their higher version of self in order to be best of service to the collective.
I love that. So I'm just kind of picking up on where I'd like to go with that. Well, I feel like, right now there's kind of this intensity in life, and we're all going to be experiencing it in our own way. And so let's go with a little bit of kind of that space when there's distraction and there may be a lot going on in life, of how you would guide people back into kind of connecting to their essence or their inner selves. And then we'll just kind of see where the conversation goes from there.
Sure. I think generally kind of like when you want to, recollect yourself back towards yourself, practices like gratitude. I use a lot of gratitude. I start my day with gratitude. It anchors into the heart center, sets you in a space of abundance. And if you're grateful for everything that you already have, you're going to attract more of what it is, that you desire. So that's one. Anything, that brings you in the moment, that brings you in the now, anything that you're passionate about, any joy, anything that brings you back to your inner child, anything creative can also be very anchoring. Anything that has to do with exercise, movement, anything somatic that brings you in the body as well. I like to say that I operate from a space called 0 point neutrality, which is where you want to be, because if you're operating from that space, you're then able to see all the different timelines and make the choices that are for your highest alignment. So yeah, staying in a space of compassionate non-attachment and like releasing all judgment is also quite an important one. But I think if we want to, again, simplify it to one thing, I would say work with the emotion of gratitude. It tends to bring everything else into alignment.
That was beautifully said. So I kind of am listening to those that are listening right now, and I kind of honed into that space of timelines and also shifting a little bit dimensionally on where people are holding consciousness in their experience. And I know you do a lot of light language and you also do a lot of channeling. So I'm going to let you just kind of take that. And I feel that timelines is something that people are starting to kind of have a conscious understanding of, but then being able to sit in those timelines and hold them multidimensionally as far as where the frequency is. So I just like your take on that, and maybe a little bit of guidance of how we can use that awareness to bring us into those higher states of being, or to go back into the self and live at the highest potential.
Yeah, sure. Like what a beautiful question and what a useful thing, to be aware of and to know. Yeah, so there's a lot of timelines at play all at the same time. So what happens is when we start navigating our healing journey and we start working on ourselves, clearing, releasing, letting go, working, on karmic cycles, trauma, ancestral timelines, and things like that, we start to do something that is called soul fragment retrieval. What does this mean? It means that we start to re-embody and integrate soul fragments that had been, fragmented in previous and parallel experiences. But because we start operating from a space of fifth dimensional density, and even in the fourth, there is no limitation of time. So, we can say for convenience's sake that there are past lifetimes, but actually when you operate from a quantum perspective in the quantum realm, there is no limitation of time. The 4D, the 50 doesn't have a limitation of space either. So what does this mean? This means that you can actually access all the possible timelines at any given time. You can imagine your system, an energy field, like an antenna. And once you learn to fine tune the antenna and to be able to, use it and tune in, then you can have access to, oh, okay, I suffer from abandonment wound. Where does that come from? My lifetime here was fine. My parents were very present, but maybe in a parallel lifetime, you were an orphan. And so all of a sudden you don't trust, yourself, or you feel like you've been abandoned, or you feel like, you can't trust other people. You don't feel safe. You don't feel secure. It can really help when we're able to tune in, to see some patterns and behaviors that are affecting us within our third dimensional density and reality, and clear the timeline. So when we clear the timeline, we clear the pattern, we clear the program, we clear the template. And so how do you do that? Sometimes it's enough just having knowledge of the timeline, just having knowledge of the experience, and other times you maybe have to sit in meditation, clear your mind, send gratitude, send love to the experience, in order to be able to neutralize it.
I'm all about that. I feel like there's this kind of shift that's happening for those that are on these higher frequencies, where we're moving out of having to know the in-depth why or the reason and creating an identity of that, and just seeing what's there and then choosing to shift into, well, a frequency beyond it. And that's kind of, timeline jumping, if you will. So I'd love to talk a little bit about your take on that, because I am so ready for this to happen, for people to move out of, oh, we have to know every little root cause of why I am the way I am, and just see it as information of, oh, this is what's being shown to me, but now I'm going to choose something different.
Yeah, I think it goes down to ego integration. I think, the ego wants to know, it wants to know why. And, then it creates this attachment to identity. Oh, I'm a Pleiadian and this is who I am. No, you're not. You're an infinite being of light. You can resonate more with certain beings or certain constellations or certain experiences, and that's fine. But this is how I like to see it. If whatever you are identifying with gets taken away from you tomorrow or disappears tomorrow, then you still need to be okay. If the answer is no, you're not going to be okay, then there is, an ego-based attachment to it, which doesn't mean that we can't express or have personality or, color our hair or whatever it is. As long as there's no attachment to it, as long as you are still able to live your life regardless of that. So that's kind of the first thing that I try to always speak on and teach whenever I'm holding my workshops, my retreats, and things like that. It's really this releasing the attachment to identity, which is directly connected to the wanting to know. We need to be in a space of surrender, because only when you're in surrender, you really are in a space of trust for the divine will of the universe, and that's when the magic can happen. If you know that you are divinely supported, guided, protected, there's no need for you to want to know why this is happening. You just, oh, okay, it's happening. And sometimes it's hard. It's hard when we have traumatic experiences or events, but I can promise you something. If you let go of the wanting to know, then that's when you're going to get the answer. It's kind of like a catch 22 and a bit of a paradox. And when maybe a few years ago I would have an experience and I would be like, oh, okay, and then the answer would come to me a year after. Sometimes sometimes you need patience. Now I'm in a space where, okay, it has happened, I'm moving through it. Now what? And then maybe in the space of a few days, they'll be like, no, this is why you went through this. This is what happened. This is what you cleared. This is the timeline. that you were on. This is the one that you needed to anchor in. This is what you needed to leave behind. So yeah, it comes down to being in a space of trust. And I think the clarity of the information that you receive and the clarity of your channel is directly proportionate to the depths to which you've met yourself. So if you're not doing the shadow work, you're not looking at those parts, you know, that are uncomfortable and moving out of your comfort zone, then you're going to struggle to be able to see, to be able to have the conscious awareness of what it is that you are moving through.
Mm. What I heard in that last part of what you said was getting out of our comfort zone, and it's kind of doing more than what we would be comfortable for. And then when we start to do those things, we start to see those attachments that maybe we weren't even aware of when we were in our comfort zone. So I'd want to talk there. Gosh, I feel like there was another question that was coming through. Let me see if I can tap back into it. It's not coming to me. Okay. Do you have something that's coming to you that you feel like is important to say right now?
I mean, I can talk for hours.
Always, right? Okay. Well, let's just whatever's coming, let's just have you keep going.
Just in general, for when you're trying to, you know, have clarity with the messages, connecting to your guides, connecting to your higher version of self. Again, it goes down back to, you know, the being grounded, the being present, the being in the moment, and letting go of what is the expectation that you would have of how your guides would connect to you. Because this is a question that I get a lot. How do I connect to my guides? Why are they not speaking to me? Why are they not helping me? You know, and, you know, understanding that we all have psychic senses. We can all be psychic and channel. Like, I'm not special. Anyone, I've just, you know, practiced more. So I've gotten better at it, but it's like a sport or exercise. You know, you want to learn how to play tennis, you practice and then you get good at it, you know. So same with your psychic senses and your vision and your intuition and your clairaudience, your claircognizance, all the different clairs, you know. So really coming down to a space of trusting yourself, trusting your intuition, but staying grounded, staying present. And then, yeah, again, moving outside the comfort zone, that's when the magic happens. That's where you learn. You know, if you are always doing the same things, you know, you're not going to get pushed to grow as an individual, because you need to be in those uncomfortable places and spaces, to grow and to expand and to have these new experiences and these new things that come through to you.
Okay, I love this. So the question that I had coming in is that place of making that first choice to do things that are in the uncomfortable zone. So, because we don't want to just go, oh, I'm just going to go quit my job so that I create this different life for myself, right? We always want to have those divine choices. And then you were talking about intuitive hits and being able to follow that guidance. I feel like there's a really nice pattern that's creating, well, how do I know what the right choice is so that I can start to move into these places of challenging myself, but doing it in a way that is in alignment with my soul purpose?
Yeah, so turn to the body. There will be a somatic response. If you worried if you should go left or right, how does it feel going left? Does it feel good? Does it feel like a struggle? Does it feel, do you get nauseated or a headache? Or do you feel like, oh, okay, like, you know, the body is responding well. So this is generally like the easiest way whenever someone asks me, you know, what direction, because the mind can trick you. The body's not going to lie. But again, you need to be in tune with your body. Your body needs to be healthy. You need to know how it responds. You need to feel it. You need to learn to listen to it, you know, and that's a whole other kind of like aspect. I think a lot of, you know, people in the spiritual community sometimes tend to not give as much importance to the body and to the somatic, but everything needs to rise together, the mental, the physical, the spiritual, and the emotional. You know, if you're meditating 12 hours a day but you're eating fast food and sugars the whole day, you're not really gonna develop as much your psychic senses and intuition as if you were exercising or going for walks or, you know, doing tai chi or qigong and all of these things, you know. And again, you don't have to be like a master, you know, a sadhu or, you know, a master meditator or anything like that to be in a good alignment, but you do need to have balance between these elements within your system.
And that's such a passion of mine, is is bringing the body with us. And that is also the place where we can start to even kind of get trapped into what I call the programmed body, is where we start to follow the triggers of our body versus the more the higher level of feeling or guidance of what the question I'd like to go to is that again, because I can kind of just tap in again, especially the people that are listening from my audience, they're going to want to know more about this of listening to the body. And so I teach, don't make a decision when you're in an emotional response, even if it's a high, right? Even if it's that dopamine or serotonin that's kind of triggering you to make a choice, is to wait till the chemical is subsided and then making the clear choice still within the body, but that emotion becomes more of a feeling and more of a knowing, I should even say, is better than feeling. So I'd love to talk about what your process is with that.
Well, I actually just work with claircognizance. I mean, I have clairvoyance, which is quite developed. I've worked with all the 5 different senses. I've had clairgustance, clairaudience, clairalience. But I generally now I'm at a point where, because my channel is so integrated, I feel like I just divinely know, and I'm just like consistently guided, if it makes sense. But totally agree with you to not make decisions when you are in an emotional state, whatever that is. Just kind of like wait, take a step back. So that's what I've learned as well in the years. Like, I'm an Aries, so like I've always been quite impulsive, and patience, and being present, and kind of like waiting before making any decisions is something, that I've learned as well. But I wouldn't say I have a specific process. I do tend to generally wake up in the morning. I'll do a little bit of shielding. I'll do a bit of gratitude. And then I've got just like my routine that I follow. I exercise every day. But yeah, when it comes to decisions, yeah, and if I'm supposed to do something that I haven't done, I'll keep on thinking about it. They'll keep on telling me, and it'll keep on coming through and coming through until I'm like, oh, okay, well, obviously this must be done.
I love that. There was someone I interviewed a while back, and she said something like, once you can ignore it, twice it kind of gets your attention, 3 times it's time to just do it, right? Or to follow the intuition. And I love that you tapped into that claircognizance, because I really resonate with that as well. I feel that is one of the spaces, as we all start to ascend and going into these higher spaces of holding consciousness, that's just going to be an organic way of almost like our new way of thinking, is that we're just going to tap into that intelligence and just know things. I think it's a lot of fun to play with. Okay, where should we go? Where do you want to go with this?
Whatever you would like to ask me, whatever you think maybe people will be interested to hear. I think the clairs are always quite like something that people are very interested. I can give a quick technique for the people who are listening if they want to figure out what clairs are more developed for them and what they can start working on. So this is a very simple exercise that you can do. It takes a few minutes. So get in a room, like possibly like a bedroom, or like a room, not like an open plan space, like a room, and sit in the corner and take like maybe 3 or 4 minutes to just observe the room. So just observe it. Obviously, you don't have anyone else in the room, and observe it and take it all in. And then close your eyes. And when you close your eyes, figure out what took your attention. Was it something you saw? Was it like something you smelled? Was it something you heard? Was it a feeling in your stomach? And you can do that a few times in a few different locations. And then based on that, you'll know kind of like what clairs are more developed. It's usually like 1 or 2 that everyone has that are more developed. So this is quite like a nice practical way to do that.
I love that. So I'm just here, I'm always tapping into what the next question would be, is so once they have that awareness, what would the next step be?
Well, then it would be working with that clair, whatever that one is, whichever one applies to them. So if it would be, I don't know, clairvoyance, then to exercise your clairvoyance, you can work with candle gazing and, open your eyes, stare at a candle, close your eyes, or do some yoga nidra, or do some visualizations. If it's clairaudience, you can work with different frequencies. If it's clairsentient and, feeling your emotions, you can like go out and see what you pick up while you're navigating, your day-to-day life. So yeah, it's different and again, it's down to the individual. No one can come and tell you how your relationship with your guides and your psychic senses needs to be. It's down to you to figure that out, to see what works for you, because what works for me might not be what works for you, which might be different to what works for someone else.
That just brings up that space where really all we're doing is remembering when it comes to our senses. Is once we start remembering and practicing, like you said, it just kind of comes online. This question is just coming through for me to ask you kind of what your process of opening up to that was. Did you come in this way? Did you have something happen? Is it something that you just kind of stepped into? Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. That's also a very good question. People love to hear kind of like the stories, because they see people like me and you, and we're doing this work, but it also took us, lessons and experience to get here. It wasn't always like this and so clear. So I come from a long lineage of witches. My mom is psychic. My grandmother was psychic. They don't do psychic work for a living, but all the women in my family have been psychic for many generations. I was one of those kids who would like see beings and couldn't sleep and would have prophetic dreams and things like that. So I've always kind of like been in this world from when I was a child. I kind of shut it off when I was like in my teen years, but I think I had my first tarot deck at like 12. So I was like I started quite early, yeah. And then I kind of like was like numbing, and because I was so overwhelmed, because I was so psychic and I was picking up everything from everyone around me, and I was just super overwhelmed. So I had like a few years in my life where I would like drinking and partying and just like kind of like numbing myself. And then I had a few intense experiences in like my mid-20s that brought me back to a space like, oh, okay, like this is not going to work out. Something needs to shift. And then I'm classically Reiki trained. So I started with my Reiki. I mean, it's been maybe 10 years now since I've started with the Reiki. And then at first it was more like a side thing. And then slowly it started becoming like more and more like like a job. My channel with the light language was activated around 2017, and that's when I started posting videos on my YouTube, which is quite funny because at the time there were maybe 10 light language channels online. Now there's like tens of thousands of them. It's quite like it's grown exponentially. It's been so beautiful to see. So yeah, and then just learning how to navigate things one day at a time. Learning how to anchor these experiences, and also like understanding that we are all here to share. And when you choose to step into a role like mine or yours, where you are assisting on a collective level, then your personal life needs to be shared. So whenever there's like experiences that I go through or astral things and whatnot, and sometimes I'm even like do I really need to share it? And my guides are like, yeah, this is what you're here for, so for me, I just work a lot with like being like just genuine and transparent. Like with me, what you see is what you get. This is why like I said to you when I got onto this interview, like you don't have to prepare anything, like whatever comes up. I generally am trust that we are always divinely guided. But yeah, I mean, it's been a journey. I would say that I feel like I've lived thousands of lifetimes just in this one. And I do feel like I've acknowledged wisdom that is beyond my human years, because I've been doing high levels of soul fragment integration, which has then brought me into a space of being able to remember and activate more gifts. And then it just goes exponentially. The more you open, the more. And I mean I do this all day every day. So and I can assure you guys it gets easier, the healing journey, but it doesn't really end.
Yes, I love that you said that. It is about the journey. And I think it's interesting how I feel like more and more people are kind of recognizing that it's not that you just become enlightened and then your life just changes, is that it's the journey of self-awareness and then fine-tuning that channel and getting it as clear as possible. Because once you kind of reach those frequencies, the rest of it just doesn't matter. And that's what I was hearing in your story. And thank you for sharing that. It was so beautiful to just connect. I could feel the vulnerability and just the softness behind it. It was really just a very sweet energy. And what I felt, oh, and I'm getting chills saying this, and what I felt at the end was this place of, you get to a place where nothing else matters. You just live the work. And if you want to even put the word work there, you live the practice. And in that, it's always opening and evolving, and that beautiful space. I feel like right now would be a wonderful place to have you share your gifts with us. And I know you wanted to do some light language. And if you have anything come through during that time, just feel free to just have at it. And I'll just hold the space with you.
Sure, you can close your eyes and start anchoring into the body. As you find comfortable breathing rhythm, with every inhale, you breathe in light. And with every exhale, you release all that doesn't serve anymore. Relaxing the body, the system, the energy field. We stay in a space of openness and oneness. As we call on the Archangelic Collective, Michael to the south, Uriel to the north, Raphael to the east, and Gabriel to the west. We call on Archangel Metatron with his blue cloak of protection from above, and Sandalphon to seal the grid from below. As we call on our higher selves, our spirit guides, and anyone else who wishes to be present for the greatest and highest good, you're welcome in the space. Remember to listen with your heart and not with your mind, and allow the codes to go where are needed at this moment in time. Opening, 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 opening systems, opening, 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 opening. Raya te te kura isi se te kumara isi raya ta kra kreate aishe ya ta ka kiera ta kre. Opening, 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 expanding. Cleaning, releasing, 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 letting go, releasing, letting go, letting go, letting go, letting go, letting go, tuning, 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 decoding, detangling, cleaning, releasing, releasing. Releasing, removing, removing, removing. Raya te te umra se sero isha yataka. Tana tara trea cre ukura isa sierra tara tre ukura ishera yatra. Tuning, tuning, tuning. Attuning, bringing in divine rays, anchoring, 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 anchoring more light into the system, cleaning peripheral, cleaning, releasing, 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 opening, expanding, expanding, expanding into more light, attuning, 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 attuning new energies, anchoring, 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 expanding, 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 expanding into the heart center, opening, 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 allowing more light to come in, anchoring, anchoring, anchoring. Anchoring, rays, rainbow rays, yashiro kokoro isirataka angelic rays coming in, anchoring, 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 crystal rays, platinum white light coming in, anchoring, 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 taraishirayatakra, tre anetuku raya siatikuro, letting go, letting go, letting go, letting go, letting go of any fears, any doubts. Anything that isn't serving you anymore, we let go, we release, we open, we expand, we allow, we surrender, we align into our highest purpose, allowing for more light to come in, anchoring, 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 raya sietaka. Tanata krik tareatre ukua ise ishayatara yatre ukuro, clearing, releasing, 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 opening, releasing, opening, opening. Opening, opening to more truth, understanding universal laws, understanding universal truth, truth, coming in, anchoring, 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 expanding the throat, opening, attuning, 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 clearing cranial structure, clearing peripheral, anchoring, 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 clearing, releasing, 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 attuning synapses, connecting, connecting, connecting neural pathways, clearing nervous system, clearing blood circulation, kidneys, bladder, spleen, releasing, 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 letting go, letting go, letting go, letting go. Raya sierra to kokura ishira takra, trana reatre okua ishira yata, taina iase nata nat kratie tukura isa ishira yatra. As we call in more light, divine rays, anchoring, 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 attuning, anchoring, attuning, 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 grounding, grounding, na shira kra kre kre kreya 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 sotkura yatara tiatara ishieta kanuk umai se sayatara kiate ka kie koro ko ayai shia se asiatara trea kietaka taraya trea kiera krikt karea siatara ia ishieta kra aligning structures, attuning blueprints, attuning, grounding, anchoring, balancing, nara ishira. Tre karea korokot karaya sietai aishia tai tainaria tre akiatare atre ora isira sira takra as we come into a space of gratitude for ourselves, for the experience, Yerokoro Isha, for the choices that we have made that has brought us to where we are now. Kierokokoro Isra, we let go of any judgment, any expectation of self, anything that is holding us back, clearing, releasing, letting go. Nia korokoro ishirayatra. Tre atrea kie kokana isirtaka. Itaishanayataram. Tre atriok ora isaya takanuk umayeshrasa grounding, anchoring, coming into ourselves, anchoring, grounding. Ura ishe sarayatara. Ura isinayatara tre erok ok ak ura kre na rek ura sak kre atrietara. Sinking systems, attuning blueprint, attuning, anchoring, closing, sealing, closing, closing, sealing, grounding, back into the now, into the present moment. Shakuro yashinaya tatria quiero koko ishietaka. Shetuk urana reatria sietaka ia ishirayatra. Remembering to listen to our bodies as we ground back into the now and into the present moment. We come back to ourselves, to our system, to our energy field. And whenever we feel ready, we can open our eyes and anchor back into the present moment. How are you feeling?
That was so amazing. I have to share with you, it was after about maybe, I don't know how long that was, but within a few seconds, I couldn't tell the difference between English and the light language. It was all one language. And until the very end, when you were just like, okay, come back. And then it's like, oh, I know that. I know to come back. But the rest of it was all, even when I could kind of hear like little words, but then they would just kind of like almost harmonize and move back into the language. It was a really interesting, amazing experience. Thank you for sharing that.
And thank you for that feedback. That's wonderful to hear, because I think what happens is the English, they start resonating at the same frequency, even if one is English and one is light language. So it would make, I mean, obviously for me, like I'm just in flow. My channel is so integrated that it doesn't really matter what I'm talking, but yeah, like I don't really hear myself often, like I just when I'm channeling. So it's nice to get that, yeah, as a feedback. And for the people who are listening, just know that this will clear in your system for a few days. It can take up to 3 weeks for full integration. You might feel like you need to eat more, sleep more, rest more. You might feel like you're getting triggered more easily. You might have old emotions resurface. You might have things come up in the astral. The codes are intelligent. They will go where they're most needed. I did do a full system clearing, fine-tuning, upgrading, throat, peripheral, cranial structure, lower chakras, solar plexus, old emotions. I did nervous system circulation. So quite a lot was done, but again, every person is different. So whatever, works in your system is what is needed for you at that moment in time.
Mm. Well, I'm so grateful that you shared that with everyone, and I know it's going to resonate with so many of those that are listening. So I know you have some some events and some retreats and that sort of stuff coming up. So I'm just going to turn it over and let you share those kind of what you have coming up so that everybody can find you as well.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. So, as of now, I'm still offering my 6 week and 6 month program. It's like an ascension program. I kind of like teach you, how to channel, how to anchor into your 5D frequency and to start to operating from that 5D template and become a better version of yourself. I work organically with each one of every client. I also teach how to access the Akashic records and a whole bunch of other things. I've got an event coming up for the portal of the 9/9, so the 9th September. It's called Manifestation Magic, how to take aligned action to anchor into the 5D. So practical ways to, live your best life, basically. November, I have a retreat that's happening in Costa Rica. I've got a few slots left for that. It's from the 17th to the 22nd of November. It's going to be 5 days, 6 days and 5 nights. We're going to be doing dragon body activations. We're going to be working with the elements. We're going to be working with some sacred plant medicine as well, mainly cacao and hape. And then in November, I'm also going to be taking in person in Los Angeles. So I'm going to be back that side. So if anyone wants to do in person, that's where I'm going to be. End of November, beginning of December. Then, yeah, I mean, so this is the things for this year. I'll be at the Conscious Life Expo in February of next year as well. So again, Los Angeles, and then I'll probably be doing San Diego and New York too. But you can just contact me through my website if if you're in those places and want to do in person. If not, I still have all my online stuff. I've still got all my workshops, releasing attachment, psychic attacks. I've got a workshop on abundance, how to anchor into abundance, and spiritual business. I've got a workshop on manifestation, again, releasing attachments. I've got one on higher soul embodiment. So I've got quite a lot of stuff if you go on my website, and then yeah, you can follow me on my YouTube or on my Instagram. My Instagram is Light Codes by ALA, and my website is althealucrezia.com. I'm sure you'll leave my links. So yeah, and if you don't understand or need more information, you're welcome to send me a DM or an email through my website homepage.
Mm, that was so much. So we'll definitely have those links below so that, and I'm also going to be at the Conscious Life Expo. So I will see you there. That'll be
Oh,
exciting.
amazing. Wonderful. Have
Yeah.
you been before?
No, this will be my first time.
Well, that my last year was my first time as well. So,
So it's
yeah,
worth
you'll love
it.
it. It's incredible. So we'll definitely meet there in person.
I
Amazing.
look forward to that. Well, thank you so much, Althea, for bringing just your light and your beauty and you shine, right? And you can see you've done the work and that, oh gosh, how do I want to say this? That you bring that into every part of your life, even through your words, through your presence. And it has been such an honor just to spend this time with you. And is there any last minute words that you would like to say before we conclude today?
Yeah, like thank you so much. And I'm always very grateful to be able to connect on these platforms and trust that the information will go where it's needed. And people like you who do these podcasts, like thank you, because it's also thanks to you that, we are what we are and we get out there and, we spread our message. So thank you so much for having me. And yeah, like I just want to reiterate this emotion of gratitude, anchoring into gratitude, navigating your day with gratitude, and that will really catapult you at the forefront of your ascension and awakening process if you're able to work with that, very often on a daily basis.
I love that. So we'll end with that. Just gratitude for those that are listening and for you for bringing your wisdom and your heart. And until next time, we'll definitely put those links below. So just everybody know that all of that will be in the show notes, regardless if you're on YouTube or the podcast, it'll be there for you. Thanks again, Althea, and everyone for listening. We're sending you so much love and a big quantum hug until next time.